The man who saved my life is a grown-up version of the boy who broke my heart.
Broke her heart. He probably just did not like her macaroni art in 3rd grade. My ex broke my heart and my limited edition porcelain cat collection. This is nothing.
It's a metaphor.
Oh, like when you said that book about the sentient toaster was a metaphor for the human condition. Still waiting for my bread to tell me its existential woes.
Welcome back to Heart Book Radio. Today, we're diving into Courtney Walsh's Can't Help Falling, a book that claims to be a heartwarming romance, but is, in my professional opinion, a psychological study of delusion masquerading as optimism.
Delusion. You think everything is delusion. You once called my perfectly reasonable fear of garden gnomes a manifestation of repressed childhood trauma.
They're inherently unsettling. Anyway, this book is about Emmy, a woman who runs a secret relationship advice podcast based entirely on romance novels.
Oh, that's rich. It's like getting financial advice from a squirrel. A squirrel who's really into Fabio.
Let's start with Emmy. She's, how do I put this delicately, a walking, talking rom-com cliché.
She's basically a Disney princess who got lost in the real world and started a podcast. I bet she names her house plants after Jane Austen characters.
And her advice is atrocious. She encourages grand gestures, declarations of love in the rain. It's all so unrealistic.
Unrealistic. You once tried to woo a woman with a PowerPoint presentation on the mating rituals of the Peruvian tree frog.
It was informative and scientifically accurate, unlike Emmy's advice, which is based on feelings.
Okay, but let's talk about Owen. This poor guy got dumped. At the altar. That's trauma. That's like finding out your favorite pizza place closed down. But 1,000 times worse.
He's clearly emotionally stunted. He scoffs at romance, hides his feelings. He's basically a firefighter version of Mr. Darcy, if Mr. Darcy had a penchant for rescuing kittens from trees.
And Emmy confessed her love to him on his wedding day. Talk about bad timing. It's like showing up to a funeral with a birthday cake.
She has the emotional intelligence of a particularly dense fruitcake.
Hey, fruitcake is delicious. And it lasts forever, just like Emmy's misguided hope for a fairy tale ending.
There's also a supporting character, Jace, who is, by all accounts, perfectly normal, which makes him highly suspicious in this context.
Maybe he's secretly a serial killer. Or worse, a mime.
The writing itself is competent, but the plot relies heavily on contrived coincidences and manufactured drama.
Contrived? You once spent an hour arguing that the plot of Die Hard was a metaphor for the fall of the Berlin Wall.
It was a valid interpretation. This, however, is just silly. There's a fire, a literal fire.
Fires are exciting. And Owen rescues her. It's like a scene from a movie, but with less computer-generated imagery and more emotional baggage.
One reviewer called it the slow burn of all slow burns, which, I suppose, is accurate if you enjoy watching two emotionally constipated people dance around their feelings for 300 pages.
Another reviewer said, I was annoyed with Emmy for 50% of the book, but I liked her by the end. That's growth. That's like finally getting the hang of parallel parking.
Dear Heart Book Radio, is it weird that I'm more invested in Owen's dyslexia than his love life? Signed, Grammar Police.
Dear Heart Book Radio, if Emmy were a sandwich, what kind of sandwich would she be? Signed, Hungry in Hoboken.
She would be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on white bread. Utterly predictable and lacking in substance.
I was thinking more of a triple-decker club. Sandwich with extra mayo and a side of unrealistic expectations.
And Owen.
A burnt, grilled cheese. Tough on the outside, slightly gooey on the inside, and definitely needs some therapy.
I give this book 2 out of 5 extinguished flames. It's a predictable, trope-filled mess, but at least it's not actively offensive.
I give it 4 out of 5 awkward first kisses. It's cheesy. It's unrealistic, but it's also kind of charming. Like a puppy wearing a tiny firefighter helmet,
You're incorrigible.
and you're delightfully grumpy. It's a perfect match. Just like Emmy and Owen. Maybe.
Join us next week when we discuss The Existential Dread of the Discarded Sock, a philosophical treatise on laundry and loss.
Oh, sounds spicy. Don't forget to rate and review us, folks. And send us your most embarrassing dating stories. We're Heart Book Radio, and we're here to judge your literary choices and your love life.